All you could hear in the third quarter of the Carlton and Richmond game in round 16 was Cripps to Walsh or Walsh to Cripps. The midfield dominance of Carlton saw the Blues burst away from a gallant Richmond team in the quarter, kicking 7 goals to just 1. Cripps had 16 disposals and a goal, while Walsh had 11 disposals, 4 tackles and a goal. That was just in the third quarter alone. With top of the table Sydney dropping a game, it means that Carlton are only 2 games off first position and are now 6 points clear in the top 2. Everyone has talked about their improvement in the turnover game, ruckman Tom De Koning's season, and the 2 big key forward pillars, but their run of wins has been based on the work of their very own Batman and Robin duo. Very quietly, Patrick Cripps and Sam Walsh are right now the best midfield duo in the competition. In the past 5 weeks, for midfielders who have played all 5 games, Cripps is rated second best in this period of time, and Walsh is at 15th. Only Isaac Heaney and James Rowbottom join them as a pair of teammates inside the top 15 midfielders. You could say for a couple seasons there, especially when Cripps battled injury, that Walsh was turning into the Batman, but Cripps is back and having a dominant season. Overall, he is the 4th ranked player in the AFL, having his highest rated season ever, much better than his Brownlow year of 2022. His form of late has zoomed him back into serious Brownlow contention. His 22 disposals and 2 last quarter goals against Port Adelaide were brilliant. His 41 disposals, 14 clearances against Geelong, followed by another 40 disposals, 1 goal and 14 clearances against Richmond, show the rare form even for him. He's in. He's played every game this year and led from the front. We all know he's a beast inside, but has anyone successfully tackled him in 2024? It seems like every time he gets contact from the opposition, he just lifts his arms up and handballs to a teammate. Feels like his contested game overall has reached another level this year. But Robin has been just as effective. It seems like Walsh has finally overcome the mystery back injury that forced him to miss Carlton's first 4 games and part of the pre-season. He might have to play with it for the rest of his career, but clearly he is managing it perfectly. He hasn't missed a beat since coming back. He's a 19th rated player in the competition, and like Cripps, is having a career season. His contested game has improved in 2024, with career highs in clearances and contested possessions per game, and he looks noticeably bigger watching him on TV. But he's kept that running ability and outside presence, which is the perfect complement to Cripps' inside work. Combined, the pair have kicked 16 goals as well. They are not the whole reason for Carlton's excellent play so far, but seem to be finally getting the recognition they deserve. It starts in the engine room, and it's where the Blues are excelling. Before Cripps and Walsh touch the ball, 2 others have a shot. The ruckman. You can't overlook Tom De Koning. Since round 11, when Mark Pittonet was injured, De Koning was pushed in as the number 1 ruck. He started the year in the role and played well, but now with a run of games and a build-up of confidence, he has exploded. These numbers don't even seem real. The last 5 rounds have De Koning as the number 1 player in the entire AFL, roughly 2.4 rating points ahead of Marcus Bonampelli. He has averaged 23 disposals, 16 of which are contested, 9 clearances, which is second only behind Cripps, kicked 2 goals and won 27 hitouts per game. If he began the year playing like this, he would easily be the All-Australian ruckman. Who knows, he still might be in the mix if he finishes the year with these type of numbers. It's also interesting that these performances have only come in 76% time on ground. His presence has helped ease the clearance load on Cripps specifically, and his combative nature sets the tone straight away. In a matter of weeks, the soon-to-be 25-year-old has grown up a lot. In terms of the way Carlton are playing, it's nearly perfect. In 2023, the main way they scored was from stoppage. They averaged 35 points per game from the source, which was 5th best. However, from turnover, which in today's game is the main way to score, the Blues were just 14th, averaging 43 points per game. it was clearly a big focus in the pre-season for Michael Voss. But when change happens here, sides can often lose their one wood. Melbourne's a great example. During this season, they stopped kicking long to contests and began using different ball movement strategies. In return, their contest wins diminished, and so did their clearance game, which is their main asset. Carlton have been far from this. Not only are they still second for scores from stoppages at 39 points per match, but their turnover game has skyrocketed. They are only behind Sydney in the competition and are up to averaging 57 points per game from the source. It's an overall increase of 14 points, a big turnaround in just one season. They also score 50 points from their forward half too, showing they can lock the ball in their half for repeat inside 50s, and more importantly score from them. From these important numbers, there really isn't any weakness offensively. Defensively, they give up the least points from turnover and apply the most tackles inside 50 and third most tackles overall. To do all of this, you need to have the players. Looking on paper at Carlton's team, one thing stands out. Compared to the rest of the competition, the Blues have nearly everyone in their prime. From their team against Richmond, only Ollie Hollands and Lachie Cowan are the really young players in their team. They have experience, but not aging players that are holding on. Their oldest is Nick Newman, who is just 31 years old and really just entered his peak a couple seasons ago. The previously mentioned Hollands and Cowan are also role players at this stage and aren't even guaranteed to be there at finals. But look at all the names on paper. A lot of seasoned and strong footballers, or a 22, 23 or 24 year olds like Brodie Kemp, Elijah Hollands and Sam Walsh, who are still at the early stages of their peak football ability. Sydney have a similar demographic, but Logan McDonald stands out as a key forward who is still young, but unlike the others for Carlton, he is very important to the way Sydney play. Brisbane have a bunch of young guys right now in Logan Morris, Jasper Fletcher, Will Ashcroft who has just returned, Kai Lohmann and Darcy Wilmot. And even third place Fremantle have a large portion of their 23 made up of 21-year-olds and younger. It's not to say that these teams can't win it or be a threat, but pointing out that Carlton do have a team of players with a balance of experience and are physically at their best in terms of football ability. It's hard to think that this time in 2023, Carlton were once again nearing turmoil. They were nowhere near the top 8 and looked more clumsy with every passing week. The pressure was on them this year. With no expectation midway through last year, they did get on a roll and make a preliminary final. So I think coach Michael Voss and his boys deserve some credit for actually backing it up and winning a lot of games in 2024. It proves the club has learnt from their past errors and have created a football program that can compete and beat the best. Led by their dynamic midfield duo, there is no reason why Carlton can't finish the year as the premiers of the AFL.